We're pleased to welcome back to the program Jordan Patch, the owner of Animal Adventure Park in Harpursville. Good morning.
Good morning, Bob. How are you?
Doing well. How are you today?
I'm good.
Appreciate your joining us to talk a little bit about the saga of the Canadian Lynx that we have heard a bit about in the last few days. For people not familiar with what happened, give us a brief overview and a little bit of information about the animal that had a little bit of a detour on its way to Harpursville.
Yeah, so, you use the term saga, and that's probably the appropriate term for it because it's been quite a mess, unfortunately, and I think it's due to a number of different outlets releasing information that sadly was wildly inaccurate. But in a very accurate nutshell, this is an animal that we acquired from another facility to bring to the park to be part of our educational programs and our breeding program. And, of course, we are licensed by New York State DEC. We're licensed by the federal government under the USDA Animal Welfare Act. All of our licenses and permits are in place, and of course, up to snuff and up to standard. And simply the situation was the agent working on our behalf that was hired to transport the animal, which is commonly done in our industry, he had a flat tire, and the trooper pulled over to assist and discovered the lynx. Now, of course, we can certainly understand the officer not being faced with this under normal circumstance was taken by surprise and didn't know exactly what to do, so reached out to New York State DEC, who assisted, and after a number of phone calls Saturday evening with both agencies, everything was straightened out, and the animal was brought to the park as it was originally destined. The main issue, quite frankly, is that the transporter didn't have the document on him that he needed, the copy of the document. It's not that he needed a special license to transport that animal. He simply needed a copy of a document. So that's really what this conundrum is. It's nothing like the news is making it out to be about an illegal animal trade. It's nothing of that nature. It's simply a clerical issue, as we've stated, of a missing copy of a permit.
So, as you understand it then, because the man from Missouri who was driving the vehicle and taking the Canadian Lynx to Animal Adventure Park, he was issued a summons for unpermitted transport and possession of threatened species. Now, as you understand it, because of this apparent paperwork problem, do you believe that charge is ultimately then going to be dismissed?
I certainly think we'll be able to speak with the DEC further on the matter, and also the district attorney in Chemung there to deliver the point that this individual was working as an agent of our organization to transport an animal from point A to point B. While the animal was, yes, in his possession, it was never under his ownership. He was simply an agent transporting the animal to fill the vacancy on our permit. So there's a lot of, quite frankly, we had two agencies on site with neither of them truly familiar with the New York State license and permit requirements. So we actually walked them through the best as we could through everything and made them feel a little more comfortable with the situation. And, here's where we are now. Uniquely enough, though, right now we're talking to the state police, we're talking to the DEC and saying, who's releasing this information? Because I have to say and clear the air, there are wild inaccuracies. For example, something about a pickup truck and the cat was in the back of a pickup truck. They drove a Lincoln Town car. There was no pickup trucks even involved anywhere in the entire situation. So there's certainly some inaccuracies, and our teams are obviously trying to discover those, figure them out and correct them where they can.
So the animal was actually in a Lincoln Town car?
Well, it was the backseat of a vehicle. Yeah, they picked up the animal, and instead of bringing a giant livestock trailer or something like that, they put it in their vehicle and transported it in what would be considered a USDA compliant travel crate.
Now, tell me about the Canadian Lynx. I know essentially nothing about the Canadian Lynx, so tell our listeners about the Canadian Lynx in general and this animal in particular, a little bit of background about the new arrival.
Sure. So Canadian Lynx, again, are not a big cat. That's another inaccuracy that's being reported. They're actually a small to medium-sized cat. They're native to North America, more commonly obviously found in Canada, and of course pockets of Alaska and the United States. And they're very similar to that of the bobcat, similar families, just little differentiations like the tufts on their ears, the length of their tails. Their pads or their feet are extremely large and webbed almost, which allows them to stay up and on top of large amounts of snow instead of sinking down. So they're a really neat, well-equipped, well-adapted animal to deal with the, generally frozen environment that they're native to.
All right. And this particular animal, is it male, female?
Oh, it's a young lady. Well, she's not that young, actually, but it is a female. And we had the opportunity to bring her in, and we thought, yes, we could provide the housing, and we could work her into our program, and that was the decision behind bringing her to the facility.
And about how old is she?
She's right now, we believe, about between 7 and 8 years old.
All right. And I saw what I think was an actual image, a photo of her. Describe her dimensions. How big is she? How much does she weigh approximately?
To put it in terms our viewers or listeners would actually appreciate, it's about the size of a small Cocker Spaniel. That's about the size of an animal we're looking at.
All right. I know what that is.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so,
Exactly.
Could weigh maybe 40 or 50 pounds, I suppose.
Yeah, well, not even. Probably about 30 to 40. There's a lot of size in actually the coat that's there. It's very deceiving, much like Arctic wolves and other animals that have very thick coats to deal with the cold climates they're native to.
So has she been given a name yet?
We're going to call her Trouble. No, I don't know. No name's been given yet. We're just trying to navigate the situation and make sure that all agencies and parties involved are on the same page and working together for a solution here instead of trying to piece things together that are speaking out that are inaccurate.
Is this the first time that you've encountered this type of an issue, transporting an animal to your park in Harpursville?
Absolutely. Absolutely. This is the first-time freak situation. Certainly a learning issue or a learning curve here to put additional paperwork with a transporter just to ensure that they have what they need. We would have been under the impression they would have had the disposition form, which is a USDA form, on hand, which would have been presented. However, the transporter did not have that on hand, which simply, so be it. I guess it would have probably eased the concerns of maybe the agencies and brought about a different outcome. But like I said, I'm pretty confident here that we'll be able to work together to make sure all the T's are crossed, I's are dotted, and move forward.
So after this issue developed in Chemung County, how long a delay was there in moving forward and then eventually having her transported to the rest of the way to Harpursville?
Yeah, well, it was probably about a 3 to 4 hour delay between the time of the initial stop to the animal being en route, if not delivered, actually to the park. And another thing that is not being released is that the New York State DEC nor the New York State troopers transported that animal. They turned it right back over to the transporter, and he delivered that animal. So this is how not severe of a situation this is, where once everything was talked about and discussed, the animal was returned to the transporter. He continued his trip, made the final destination, did the delivery, and moved on his way with the summons that was written by the DEC.
All right. So what time did she arrive, would you estimate?
Oh, I don't know. I'd say probably around 10 p.m. on Saturday evening.
Oh, okay. So it really wasn't that long. I mean,
no, not at all. Like I said, it was a lot of people and organizations trying to navigate a situation they were certainly unfamiliar with, and once everything was kind of figured out and all agencies were confident and comfortable with what was going on, things moved and escalated pretty quickly.
All right. And so how is she doing this morning? Have you seen her this morning?
Oh, yeah, she's doing great. Normal protocol and procedures in place. We have a quarantine period where the animal is observed and seen and kept isolated. And obviously we allow that for about 2 weeks time period. And we, monitor food consumption, water consumption, behavior, and so forth. And then once the clean bill of health is issued again, then we go ahead and we'll introduce to the other lynx at the park.
And how many others are currently at the park?
We have 2 others.
Yeah? All right. Are they all about the same age, or are they younger, older?
Younger.
All right. Well, it's interesting. I'm fascinated by, well, we've talked before, and I mean, as early as when you brought in the little kangaroo. Yeah. I'm always fascinated by animals, except when you brought him back, and he was now at in the mode of, hey, I'm a kangaroo who likes to box and punch talk show hosts in the snoot.
Right.
But not to say you didn't warn me.
This is true. But just like our children that turn into adults, they all grow up and become a little bit more independent, we'll say.
And one other thing while we have you on the line, of course, everybody continues to be fascinated by the ongoing story of the giraffes. How are things going now that things have been sort of reconfigured? You've had construction going on, and our favorite giraffes on the planet are enjoying slightly different accommodations.
Yeah, exactly. The giraffes are doing wonderfully. So those that may not be familiar with the situation is Tajiri was supposed to actually leave our facility and join another zoological facility. And unfortunately, timelines and deadlines for construction at that facility were not met, which made us kind of face a scenario where we were fighting against Mother Nature. Obviously, cold weather is setting in here up in upstate New York. We've got April the giraffe, who is pregnant and expecting a calf in March, and we've got a young male giraffe that is maturing by the day, who poses a risk to his mother, and then eventually the father would pose a risk to him. So, we made the decision to keep Tajiri on site, which prompted the immediate design and build of a new giraffe barn. And our teams constructed that within about 31 days. And the project was entirely funded by the fans and supporters of Animal Adventure, which certainly assisted us because we did not anticipate an expense of this nature going into our off season. So it was a wonderful coming together of many organizations and the fans to keep Tajiri home, and we're happy to celebrate that with them.
All right. So you say the new arrival is anticipated around March. Is there a due date that the experts are focusing on?
Oh, Bob, you know better than that now.
Hey, I'm a reporter. I need to ask. Yes, I know better, but that doesn't mean I'll ask.
Yes, of course. So, from observations, which were done by keepers and also recorded on video, which is the luxury of having a camera in there 24/7, we have her pegged for an end of March or mid-March delivery. Now, that being said, giraffes have a gestation of 15 months. Some only go 14 months. Some extend it to 16 months. So, sure, March is a great window, but by all means, there's a 30-day margin of error on either end of that.
And I've heard that she is expecting a girl. Is that correct?
Oh, I would hope. It'd be nice to have a girl and a boy, but no, there's no way we can actually see what the sex is of the calf when April is still pregnant. Simply, we don't have the ultrasound equipment that would penetrate the epidermis well enough to give those kinds of details.
All right. Is wagering actually going on in Vegas about whether she'll have a girl or a boy? Have you heard?
Well, this early, probably not yet. I think maybe after the first of the year when we really get into Giraffe Calf Watch 2019, as we've dubbed it. I think there probably would be. I do know that last pregnancy, there were wagers being taken on days, time, sex, and size.
And probably more. Knowing my friends in Vegas, I wouldn't be surprised that there are other things that they'll be before the end of March offer opportunities for people to come up with unique wagering.
Absolutely. March Madness has a whole new meaning now.
Absolutely. Jordan Patch, appreciate your joining us, and wish everybody, all your friends, and certainly the residents at Animal Adventure Park the very best during this holiday season.
Well, we appreciate it, and thank you, and same to you.